The NBA playoffs are finally underway after a long regular season. The playing games are over. We have the 8th seed, 7th seed fully locked in for both conferences. The playoffs are now finally underway. And today we're going to be going over my playoff bracket and who's going to win each series and in how many games, and a little bit about why I think they're going to win and why the other team is going to lose. And the playoffs are literally going on right now as I'm recording this video. I'm recording this a little late, so I'm going to try and get this out as soon as possible. So let's get this started in the Eastern Conference because they have more obvious matchup outcomes because of how top heavy the East is. But we got the first seeded Milwaukee Bucks versus the 8th seeded Miami Heat. Now, like I said, these matchups are more obvious, and in this series, I have the Milwaukee Bucks in 5 games. Miami might steal a game, I think, at home or something. Butler might just go off one night, and then someone like Hero, Bam, Gabe Vincent, Max Strus, like we just saw versus Chicago, might just have a game, like go for 25, 30, just go crazy. And the Bucks, you know, might just have an off night. Milwaukee Bucks are still, I believe, the best team in the NBA, so I think they're going to take this to a gentleman's sweep, go on to the next round pretty easily. And with Miami's inconsistent offense and inconsistent defense, if we're being honest, and Milwaukee's ability to be incredible basically on every aspect of the basketball court, I have the Milwaukee Bucks taking care of business in this series and moving on. Next matchup, I want to get these obvious matchups out the way pretty fast because, you know, there's more interesting ones. These are more obvious. So the next matchup, 2nd seeded Boston Celtics versus the 7th seeded Atlanta Hawks. Now, I said this in my playing prediction, I trust the Miami Heat in a 7-game series more than I trust the Hawks, but I trust the Hawks more in a 1-game elimination. So this is actually where that comes into play. I have the Miami Heat winning 1 game versus the Bucks because I trust them a little more in that situation. But in the 7-game series versus the Boston Celtics, I have the Hawks getting swept by the Celtics. I think there can obviously be like some close games in here. Trae Young can pop off. DeJounte has always been a threat. But I just don't trust the Atlanta Hawks being able to keep up with the star power of Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. And I think Boston has the ability to just combat everything Atlanta can throw at them with their incredible backcourt defense with Marcus Smart, Derek White. I don't think it's very possible for Atlanta to take 1 game, but I just think Boston's going to take care of business here and sweep the Atlanta Hawks. The next matchup is actually the game that's going on right now as I'm speaking, the first game of the entire playoffs, the 3rd seeded 76ers versus the 6th seeded Brooklyn Nets. In this pretty uninteresting round 1, if I'm being honest, I got Philly in 4, another sweep. Brooklyn has been good, but not like insanely good all of a sudden because Kevin Durant and Kyrie were traded. They've been like, you know, they were able to keep this 6th seed and avoid the play-in, but they also haven't been incredibly good, which is obviously nothing what we expected. We didn't expect them to, you know, go crazy, jump up above the Knicks or something. But these guys have had a pretty good run with Mikal Bridges breaking out, Cam Johnson, DFS, Spencer Dinwiddie, and all these guys. But realistically, the 76ers are one of the championship contenders, while this Brooklyn Nets team is just a bunch of role players, if we're being honest. I might classify Mikal Bridges as a star at this point of his career, but everyone else, just kind of role players that are pretty good, but definitely not going to win a championship or even get past the first round. Now, the next and final matchup at the Eastern Conference, and what could be the best round 1 series we have this year, the 4th seeded Cleveland Cavaliers versus the 5th seeded New York Knicks. Now, I'm easily most excited for this series. This series is going to be a dogfight all throughout. Both these teams, I believe, are top 10 in offense and top 10 in defense, and I'm assuming Randall is going to be available for this series all throughout. I believe that already came out that he's going to be available for round 1. So my prediction for this series is actually going to be Cleveland in 7. Cleveland just has so many weapons, it's unreal, with Mitchell, Garland, Jared Allen, Evan Mobley, Karis LeVert, Ricky Rubio. Even though Jared Allen and Evan Mobley and all them are more defensive oriented, this team is just so complete. And even Isaac Okoro, I forgot to list them off. This team just has so many guys that can just do their thing at a very high level. Evan Mobley might be the defensive player of the year. I know he's a top 3 candidate, and he might win that thing. And versus Julius Randle and them in the front court, I think Evan Mobley's gonna lock that down. We do gotta respect the elite duo of Brunson and Randle this year, and their scrappy defense, talking about the entire team here, the scrappy defense, 6th man of the year candidate Emmanuel Quickly, who's been incredible all year, Quentin Grimes, Josh Hart, RJ Barrett at times. All these guys just go out there, do what they need to do. This series can really go any way if I'm being honest, but I just trust Mitchell in the playoffs so much. Like, this man shows out in the playoffs. And Mobley and Jared Allen, they don't really have to do too much offensively. They can just do their thing defensively, get rebounds, be a loud threat, and this team is real good. And the Cleveland Cavaliers, in my opinion, are kind of a sleeper pick to make the finals this year in the East. And the New York Knicks are most definitely going to be a nice test for them to see if they can really make it out, especially with the 3 top dogs in the East. So yes, I am taking the Cleveland Cavaliers in 7. I just trust their weapons more, and I trust their stars more when it comes to very, clutch moments and playoff moments. So I know I just picked a top seed to win every single series in the East. I know that's very boring, very generic, but I just think the East is so top heavy. And especially the, 1 seed, 2 seed, 3 seed. The Cavs-Knicks series might, could go either way. The 5th seed can't win that one with the Knicks. But with the Bucks, Sixers, and Celtics, that was out of order. But the Bucks, Celtics, and Sixers, they're most definitely going to dominate their series because, the bottom half of the East isn't too strong. But let's get into a conference that has a very strong bottom half, which is the Western Conference, of course, with the 1st-seeded Nuggets going against the 8th-seeded Minnesota Timberwolves in the first matchup we're going to be going over. I honestly think this series is going to be really close, closer than a lot of people might think. I think if Ant can be aggressive, driving to the rim constantly, Conley can do what he does playmaking-wise and in the pick and roll and everything, Gobert plays like a defensive player of the year, I think this Timberwolves can force this series to 6 or maybe even 7. But at the end of the day, I do have to respect the Denver Nuggets being the 1st seed, the back-to-back MVP. Also, I gotta ask myself, do I actually think all those things are gonna actually happen for the Timberwolves? No, I don't actually think all that's gonna happen. They're the 8th seed for a reason, and the Nuggets are the 1st seed for a reason. The Nuggets I have coming out in 6 games. I think Minnesota's going to put up a fight just like they always do, but with Gobert, I don't think he can really keep up with Jokic. And Jokic has so many weapons this year with Jamal Murray, Michael Porter Jr., KCP, Aaron Gordon. Like, this team is just so good and so well built. While the Timberwolves, they're just very streaky. You can't really tell what you're going to get out of them every night. And versus the Denver Nuggets, they will take advantage of you immediately if you have an off night. Now in the second matchup that is going to be very anticipated, the 2nd-seeded Memphis Grizzlies versus the 7th-seeded Los Angeles Lakers. Seeing Bron in the playoffs again, John Morant, Jaren Jackson Jr., Anthony Davis go at him. Like, this series is going to be really fun to watch. And in this series, I'm going to take the Los Angeles Lakers in 6 games. I just think the Lakers with LeBron James, arguably the greatest player of all time, playing in the playoffs, who's obviously one of the best playoff performers of all time, and Anthony Davis historically has been great in the playoffs, when he's healthy, of course. I just think they can take out this young John Morant-led Memphis Grizzlies team. And these 2 teams are great defensively, so it really does come down to who can keep up offensively throughout this series, who's going to be able to make a bucket when they need it most, in the clutch time and everything. And I just trust LeBron and AD to do that more often than I trust John Morant, Desmond Bane, and them. And another big issue about the Grizzlies that really does play into favor about the Lakers is the Lakers are great at drawing fouls, and the Grizzlies foul so much, especially Jaren Jackson Jr. He's literally infamous for always fouling, and that's literally a reason why he might lose the Defensive Player of the Year. If he's able to stay on the court more and play more minutes, I think he wins this award easily, but he just fouls so much, and with the Lakers being able to draw fouls at an insane rate, Anthony Davis might get this man in foul trouble, or maybe not even just AD, LeBron, and everyone else. They might be able to get this man Jaren Jackson in foul trouble in the 2nd quarter. And with Jaren Jackson out of the game, if he's in foul trouble, that is a huge hole down low for the Lakers to drive into and just score the ball at will in the paint. Especially because Memphis doesn't even have Steven Adams yet. He's been out for who knows how long. I don't even remember the last time he was on the court for them. Now the thing about the Lakers though is they are very inconsistent. You can't really know exactly what you're going to get out of them. That Timberwolves game, they were pretty bad 3.5 quarters in, and they really turned it up about a half a quarter in the 4th quarter and everything, in overtime. But I don't think they're going to play like that in the playoffs. I think LeBron is going to go out there and go crazy. I think D'Lo is going to have a better series. Schroeder has been great. Austin Reeves has been a very consistent guard for them. And this team also just has very great depth with Mo Bamba, Lonnie Walker. These guys that are pretty solid rotational pieces. They don't even get PT. But if they do need them, they have fresh legs out there they can bring out that are pretty solid. So I do have the Lakers winning this series in 6. Gonna be a very fun matchup, gonna be a very anticipated matchup. And if the Grizzlies do pull this out, I won't be surprised at all, honestly. I really do like this Grizzlies team a lot. And if they do win this series, I think they can go pretty far, maybe even make the finals. Now the next series I think is also very anticipated. I think the Western Conference matchups are so fun this year. The 3rd-seeded Sacramento Kings versus the 6th-seeded Golden State Warriors. Andrew Wiggins has been confirmed to be available for the Golden State Warriors, which is huge for them. But at the same time, Sacramento, that arena is going to be booming in Game 1 and in Game 2 throughout the whole series. Like, if we're being serious here, this is the first playoff matchup they've had in 16-17 years. These fans are hungry to actually see some playoff basketball in Sacramento. Like, they haven't seen it in 17-16 years. There are people that were born when their last matchup was and are now teenagers, almost adults, that have been wanting to watch these guys in the playoffs. They haven't even been able to watch them in their entire lifetime. That arena is going to be booming. It's going to be an incredible watch to see Sacramento really back their team up. And a lot of people are actually saying a lot of the pressure is on the Kings this series to pull it out. But I actually think a lot of the pressure is on the defending champ Warriors. I don't know if that's a hot take or something, but I just hear a lot of people saying a lot of the pressure is on Sacktown, but I don't really think that's true. I think if the Warriors are kicked out in round 1 versus a Kings team that just got here in the playoffs, they haven't sniffed the playoffs in 16-17 years, I think that's more embarrassing for them than if the Kings get kicked out by the defending champion Warriors. Especially because Warriors fans are basically saying they're back into last season form. They got Wiggins, they're here, they're gonna make a finals run. Like, a lot of people are hyping up this Warriors team to be back in full form, but if the Kings lose to them, I don't think that's as embarrassing as if the Warriors lose to a very new and up-and-coming team. So I do think the Kings can win this series, but we have to put into consideration this is their first playoff series in a very long time. Like, this Kings team, I don't really have much expectations for this Kings team. They're obviously very good. I do want to put a lot of respect on this team, but it's also the Golden State Warriors, if we're being honest. I do have the Warriors winning this in 6 games. The Kings team, I know a lot of people are like, they're unexperienced and everything, and that's kind of boring to say that they are unexperienced. We all know that. But at the end of the day, that is a pretty big deciding factor in my opinion. Now, the Warriors team is still very good too. If they can just steal 1 or 2 games maybe on the road, like, I think this Warriors team has this series. Now, the Kings are the best road team in the West, I believe, and the second best in the entire league. But I don't know. Something about this Warriors team, I just trust them more. I actually do know what it is. It's the fact that they won 4 championships in the past decade. And these are still the same guys. Still Steph Curry. Klay Thompson is playing a great season this year. Draymond Green, of course. Jordan Poole. And not really much greatness from Jordan Poole this year. Of course, Andrew Wiggins is back. I think it's going to take a little bit for Andrew Wiggins to get back into rhythm, but I still do have the Warriors winning in 6 games. Now, the last series of the video, and what could be the really good series, honestly, the 4th-seeded Phoenix Suns versus the 5th-seeded Los Angeles Clippers. Now, a lot of people might be expecting a lot out of this series, but in my opinion, I think this series is actually going to go to 5, and I have the Suns winning it. I'm making this prediction in the mindset that Paul George will not be available for the whole series for Los Angeles. But let's say he's available, let's say he comes back in game 3 or 4 or something. I think the Clippers still lose the series if I'm being honest. If he does come back, probably Suns in 6 or 7. But even if Paul George does come back, I doubt he's going to be super explosive, great defensively like he normally is. It was still a pretty, bad looking knee injury. And of course, LA has Kawhi, but Batum, like, is he going to be guarding Kevin Durant or something? Like, Batum is not a bad defender at all. But also, we cannot be overthinking this. Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, Chris Paul, if he can have 1 or 2 games where he just goes off. DeAndre Ayton, can play just decent basketball, 15 and 10 or something. I think the Suns can dominate the Clippers, so I'm being honest. But if the Clippers even want a chance to win this series, I think that Westbrook has to play incredible basketball. Kawhi has to be playing like 2019 Kawhi. Norman Powell, Nicholas Batum, Morris, Zubac, Bones Highland, all these guys have to play top level basketball, because they can't just have Kawhi out there carrying the offensive load and expect him to play defense on Kevin Durant or Devin Booker. So yeah, I don't want to overthink this series. Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, everyone else, like Josh Okogie even, he was playing great in the stretch of the year. We cannot overthink this. They have the star power, and I think this star power will most definitely outweigh the Clippers' pretty decent depth. So with all that being said, the playoffs are finally here. Those are my round 1 predictions. If you like the video, hit the like button down below, subscribe button, notification bell, so you can be notified as soon as I upload, especially during the playoffs and the finals and everything when that comes. Gonna be very fun. Gonna be uploading a ton of videos, so keep up with that. And if you agree, disagree, or you're on the fence with what I'm saying about these predictions, put it down in the comments below. Let's have a conversation about it. Be respectful, and I'll have to see you guys in the next one. Peace out.